Evans. Evan, you're amazing.
Evan,
you're
Welcome
amazing.
to my final major project for my level 3 course. My name is Evan, and today I will be your guide as I take you through the wonderful world of... First of all, for all the uninitiated and normal people of the world, what is a fandom? Well, for lack of a better term, a fandom is a group of you and a bunch of other people who all conglomerate over a singular universal subject. Think a game, a film, or any other piece of media. It's a great way to meet other like-minded people and to find people who share your interests. I myself are also in quite a few fandoms, but to list off a few, there's the Transformers fandom, Five Nights at Freddy's, the Phasmophobia fandom, but these aren't universal, and every person has their own hobbies, interests, specialities, so if you like it, there's probably some underground forum buried in the internet for you. Think of an online fandom as a virtual convention, but without any of the actual benefits of having an actual social interaction or a conversation. Being part of a fandom is an incredible opportunity. It allows you to make new friends, lifelong relationships, and just meet great, amazing people. But to be in a fandom, there are some terms you need to know. So for one, let's take a look at... So one of the most infamous parts of fandom culture is the shipping culture. Now, shipping is essentially taking two characters from a show, movie, or game and putting them in a relationship. This is usually done to explore dynamics and just see how these two characters would interact in those scenarios in a way. Most mainstream media and mainstream fandoms usually only ship two characters that are already in a relationship, but it really doesn't take much digging to find ships of characters that are either just friends in media or have nothing to do with each other, but they do usually all stem from the same type of media. There's also a type of ship known as a crack ship. Now, these ships are made with two characters that have nothing to do with each other in the slightest. One of the most infamous examples is The Grinch and Tony the Tiger, and work of that was read by a nun and blessed by a priest. Usually crack ships are done for fun and just why not. They can also be done to explore the dynamics and just, like normal ships, see how those two characters would interact in certain situations.
There's also a bunch of weird ships, but I'm not going to get into them now because I just don't want to.
Any way you look at them, ships are massively important to fandom culture and have remained a staple in fandom ever since their inception.
If you mention me again, I will roundhouse kick the ridiculous features off your moon face.
With fandoms being such diverse places, there naturally comes disagreements. And whilst you could, usually just talk it out, settle it like civilized people, no. With fandoms, most of these devolve into arguments that span multiple hours and involve way more people than there reasonably needs to be for a minor squabble. With any media, there obviously comes different viewpoints, and arguing about what you think is correct seems to be a very common pastime in most fandoms, but none of which more than the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom. I've been a fan of the FNAF games for as long as I can remember, with my earliest memories just being me as a young child telling myself I won't get scared, and then proceeding to have night terrors for 3 weeks straight. This godforsaken fandom will not stop arguing about what they think is correct, and I'm 90% sure that none of it has been planned from the start and is all just being made up, but that won't stop them. It's like trying to connect a cat to the barrel of a gun. It just doesn't work. Tangent aside, however, the FNAF fandom are the kings of arguing over lore details that are so minute you wouldn't care if you weren't somewhere on the spectrum. So, to demonstrate, there are 5 things that the fandom will not stop arguing about.
Number 5. Which child shouldn't have been murdered? Number 4. What order the games take place? Number 3. How it's possible for some technologies to be built before they're meant to be. Number 2. who created which murderous robot? And finally, number 1, why on earth does the timeline not make sense? But I don't know, maybe it's because none of it was planned, but that's just me.
Whilst I could go on and on all day, I'm not gonna, because it would take me all day, and those were the only 5 I could think of when coming up with the script. So I'll just leave it there. But we're gonna move on to a more wholesome part of fandoms. Coming on to another more wholesome part of fandoms are original characters. These are just made by fans who just want to make a character, or it's themselves as a character in that show, and it's just done for fun. There will usually be drawings, there will usually be like stories attached to them, but overall they are really important for fandoms, and some characters who are original characters end up making it into their respective shows. Let's take a character from one of my fandoms, Transformers. So there was a character named Windblade who was a completely original fan-made idea. It got voted on by fans, the name got voted on, the vehicle form, everything. And she was added into the comics, and eventually she has become a mainstay of the franchise. So it is really important that original characters are made and created, as sometimes they do have massive effects on these worlds.
I forgot to transition into this, but yeah, here's the interview. Woohoo!
Also, just letting you know, 50 Shades of Grey was a Twilight fanfiction that started because the creator of Twilight listened to My Chemical Romance, which formed because of 9/11. So I say that we go back in time and stop 9/11. Onto the interview.
What fandoms are you a part of?
I'm part of, well, the 4 main ones I'd say, like the 4 I've interacted with the most, I would say Hollow Knight and or Silksong, Deltarune and or Undertale, Slay the Princess and Scarlet Hollow.
Why did you get into these fandoms?
Well, for Hollow Knight and Silksong, I saw a YouTuber playing Hollow Knight, thought it looked cool. Playing the game myself, it was mad difficult. And then the agonising wait for Silksong drove me mad enough to get into Deltarune, which has also driven me mad for agonising wait. But also, I was already into Undertale, so it was like an inevitability, me getting into Deltarune and stuff. Deltarune fandom is insane, have a love-hate relationship with it. Slay the Princess, I saw it like blow up and everyone was talking about this game and it seemed really cool, so I played it blind. Best decision I've ever made, it was so good. Amazing art, amazing writing, amazing music, everything. And by the same devs as Slay the Princess is Scarlet Hollow. And Scarlet Hollow I also played blind, amazing decision. Both of those games are incredible.
What are fanworks?
Fanworks? Okay, fanworks is basically just any piece of art, whether that's like a drawing, a painting, some music, some writing, that is made like based off of or inspired by, actually I'd be a bit more loose with inspired by, that is like involving a work in general. So like, for example, let's say you watched Game of Thrones and you really liked one of the characters from Game of Thrones. I haven't watched it, I don't know them. But you really like one of the characters in particular, so you draw a picture of them. That's fan art. Yeah, anything really, just any creative work.
What is a fan fiction?
So fan fiction specifically is a written work based off of or featuring a show or a game or a book or something you like. A very famous example of this is My Immortal, which is arguably the most infamous fanfiction out there. It is a Harry Potter fanfiction where someone put their OC, their original character, into the books/films. and she's called Ebony Darkness Dementia Ravenway. That name is a bit telling on what sort of fanfic this is. It's generally agreed upon that it is terribly written, but like fanfiction doesn't have to be good. It just has to be vague, you know, just, like love is put into it. It's a creative work much like any other.
What is a tag in fanfictions?
Okay, so a tag, it's like, you know when you go to a library and you've got like labels on each of the shelves that are like telling you what sort of genre you're looking at, what sort of like things this book might include. Like you'll go into one section, you'll be here's all the psychology books, and you go into another section, you'll be like here's all the photography books, this is all the fantasy books. That's kind of what tags are. They like double as a category but also a content warning. It's like a lot of tags you'll find are like heavy gore, major character death, stuff that will upset a lot of readers, so they put these tags on there to sort of deter anyone away who might be upset by this. If you want to feel good fanfiction, go read fluff. If you want something that's like kind of emotionally packed but also feel good, then you can read Hurt Comfort. If you want just straight up depression and sadness, go read Angst.
Are there any other like final words or comments you'd like to give?
I think a big factor in a lot of fandom stuff and a lot of fan work stuff is respect. Have respect for everyone. Like, if someone makes a fan fiction or a piece of fan art and it's the worst thing you've ever seen, don't tell the person who made it that. Be nice. For all you know, that could be like a 13-year-old person like sat in their room like having fun and drawing or writing. Like, be nice to people online. Don't bully people, and just like have general respect for people. That's a big thing that I want to say. Yeah, I think that's most of it. Yeah.
So to conclude, fandoms are a massive part of online culture and youth culture as a whole. They bring the youth together, they bring everyone together, and they're much like the fandoms and cultures and fan bases in real life, but they're just an easier way for people all over the world to connect with anyone they want. My name's been Evan, thank you for sitting through this god-awful video, and yeah, goodbye.